Moses is a major figure as far as world religion is concerned. From his days even unto this day, he is a source of reference to major world religions like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. There were a lot written about Moses, a lot of wonders he performed in the name of God he claimed to have encountered, but very few of them can be compared with a very mysterious chapter of the Bible where it was said that he asked God, that he wants to see his face. Exodus 33:18, verse 23. Then Moses requested, "Please, let me see the dazzling light of your presence." The Lord answered, "I will make all my splendor pass before you, and in your presence I will pronounce my sacred name. I am the Lord, and I show compassion and pity on those I choose. I will not let you see my face, because no one can see me and stay alive. But here is a place beside me where you can stand on a rock. When the dazzling light of my presence passes by, I will put you in an opening in the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take my hand away, and you will see my back, but not my face." Up till this time, I have been wondering how the back of God that Moses saw looks like, and more elaborate explanation of that chapter, because I found it fascinating. I believe a lot was shrouded there because it was one of the major time Moses saw the form of God. Up till now, I have not seen anyone who explained it so profoundly and thoughtfully like this guy that you are about to watch. So while you listen, I hope you gain a new insight to these enormous mysteries locked in few sentences of the Bible.
We're going to be breaking it into 4 categories. The first one is the dazzling light of God's presence or the face of God. The second one is the consequences of beholding the face of God, which is death. The fourth one is the splendor of God's presence. What does it mean? That is the one that is called the goodness of God passing through Moses. Then the fourth one and the last one is the meaning of the back of God. Now, the first one, called the dazzling light of God's face, is the most supreme consciousness, because beholding God is not like beholding a man's face. When you begin to talk about God, you begin to talk about dimension of consciousness. The dimension of consciousness where God dwells is of a higher dimension. If you are very familiar with the concept of thinking of dimension, it will help you to understand this thing. Now, there are different dimensions. There is one dimension. One dimension can mean front and back. That means if you make a line on a plane, it's just one dimension. Two dimension means front and back and left and right. Yeah, it has become two dimension. Three dimension means front, back, left, right, up and down. Fourth dimension means the rest of the other dimension, including time. Fifth dimension, sixth dimension. There are many other dimensions that are beyond even our own observation. So God, as a consciousness, dwells in a place called like the unapproachable light, where the consciousness there is of highest intensity. So that is where the second point begins to come in. Why God made it known to Moses that he cannot observe his face and still be alive. The ability to die means to lose this frame of consciousness. Now, this second one also ushers us with the knowledge of the fact that consciousness is in frames. There are levels of consciousness, and for you to be in a certain level of consciousness, you'll be locked up in a particular frame. We are living in different frames of consciousness. Human beings are locked. To be a human being means to be locked up in a certain type of consciousness. Let me break it down more. Like the eye that we use in seeing There are so many things that we cannot see. There are so many colors that we cannot even see. Only in color spectrum we cannot see. The only major colors that we can see in color spectrum are the rainbow color.
This is entire electromagnetic spectrum. And this is the portion of the spectrum that we can see.
Beyond the colors of the rainbow in the in wave spectrum, we cannot see any other thing. So that is a part of the limitations of our, even our sense organ, our five sense organ. We are only observing this world with our five sense organ. Even the sound that we hear with our ear, there are frequencies of sound that we can no longer hear again, both on a of higher frequency and of lower frequency. So God is trying to make Moses understand that he cannot behold the highest source of consciousness without that, the energy, the ambience, because every consciousness, every level of consciousness has some level of energy intensity and frequency. So Moses, dwelling as a human being, because Moses was dialoguing with God as a human being, so Moses as a human being cannot observe God with this very limited or locked consciousness. Moses as a mortal man, the mortal nature of Moses will be totally disrupted. That is the meaning of dying. Then we'll go over to the third one, which is the splendor of God. Some part of the Bible will call it the goodness of God. We are made to understand that God covered Moses and made all his goodness to pass through him, and after his goodness passed through, then he opened his hand so that Moses was able to see his back. So this goodness that was passing means different frequencies, because we have so many frequencies in God, and we can also see this frequency level in things concerning angels, angelic order, angelic hierarchy. There are some angels that are of higher frequency, of higher goodness, of higher intensity of power and consciousness, because of the kind of level that we are. Because the universe, if you look very well, God works with hierarchy. God works with concept of hierarchy, from the highest intensity to the lowest, even in natural created things. So we are looking at God trying to move different frequencies of his presence, and then covering Moses, so that, because Moses was asking God of the highest frequency. Meanwhile, there are other frequencies of lower nature, of lower frequency, of that is not even up to the face of God, that can even destroy Moses, that can destroy Moses as a human being, as a man. Because human consciousness, like I said earlier, human consciousness is very limited in terms of observation, because we are only placed in space-time. We are in space-time. We are limited with time. So those other frequencies that are of higher ambience, of higher intensity, that was why God had to cover Moses, so that those higher frequencies will not disrupt the nature of the human nature of Moses. So that being said, let's move over to the meaning of the back of God, because we are meant to understand that immediately God promised Moses that after his goodness passes Moses, he's going to remove his hand and allow him to see his back. The back of God in this context means
time, things that happen from the beginning of creation of form, the form known that concerns Moses. Follow me closely. I said the back of God in this context means that Moses was able to stand and observe. Now I remember, God is not a being, like it's not that he saw a very big monster or a being anywhere. Moses did not see a being. Moses was taken to the past, because time is the highest. Time is in, we are being on fourth dimension. We are living in fourth dimension because of space has to do with the three dimensions. Then the fourth dimension that we are living in is the time, because time has the potential to have like past, present and future. So Moses was taken aback. Moses was allowed, God allowed Moses to go back in time and see how everything came to be. That is the meaning of the back of God. From the point of observation of Moses, look at it. Moses was staring at what happened in the beginning of the cosmos, not the whole cosmos, not the cosmos, because there are so many other cosmos that does not concern Moses, pertaining to the frame of his observation, like pertaining that he is a human, he is in form, he is in the realm of space-time. So Moses was taken aback to how space-time, everything that concerns the creation of space-time, how it came to be. That was that was the point that Moses discovered the beginning, discovered how God spoke light, said let there be light and all that. The book Genesis chapter 1, from Genesis chapter 1 to, so that this was the origin of the book of Genesis and other books, other things that Moses knew. So Moses was like giving a flashback how everything came to be that concerns space-time, not everything that concerns the whole cosmos, because God has, remember I said, God has so many other dimensions that are beyond this frame, that are beyond space-time, that are far above space-time, and even the things that cannot even be imagined within space-time.
According to UC Wonders, God showed Moses the creation of material universe when he revealed his back, because God is a being of the highest dimension, and the highest thing we can observe in our limited four-dimension of space-time is the ability to stay in the present and know everything about the past and future. Do you think how he analyzed it is awesome? Make your thought visible on the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found it interesting. More will be coming your way.